Good morning, everyone. Can you just take this time to greet one another with a good morning? We'd also like to greet everyone who is with us in the live stream a good day. So today is Legacy Sunday, where we have an opportunity for us to look back into our past and into our history so that we might move forward into our future with intact roots. Jose Rizal once upon a time said that ang taong hindi marunong lumingon sa pinanggalingan ay hindi makakarating sa paroroonan. And in our church, in our history, there has been many things that God has been so faithful about and has done so well in our church that for us, we need to also go back every now and then for us to be able to move forward. You know, recently I had a conversation with a few of our workers, and one of the workers said, why is it that, for example, as a church, we don't really talk about the end times too much? That's something that for a lot of people is something that's quite important, and a lot of churches talk about that. But you know, when we look at the history of our church, we will kind of see why we as a church, we have gone this way. And so today, as Legacy Sunday happens, it's a chance for us to reconnect once again to our root as a church so that we might understand our path forward. You know, once upon a time, when my dad began the church, he had an opportunity once upon a time to really figure out what the church would be. Kasi syempre po, if you know what Bread of Life is a non-denominational church. Ang ibig sabihin po niyan is we do not have a particular denomination which we adhere to. But that doesn't mean that our theology is just absent, but rather, when we began, we started as what was known as Bapticostals. With two things po, no? The Baptists and the Pentecostals. Now, the Baptists, sabi nga nila, their theology can be summarized in this way. God gave you a brain, use it. Diba? Because sometimes, yun yung problema. When we try to understand the Bible, it's so hard to just read it and not think. Gagamitin yung utak. Because sometimes, in faith, we become too much into faith that ang tawag nga po natin dyan to a certain degree is hyper-faith. Now, there are certain branches of Christianity where they don't even believe in doctors. They don't believe in all of this. So, the Baptists believe that you have to use your brain. But, we're also Pentecostal, and Pentecostals believe in what is called the gifts of the Spirit. Now, the gifts of the Spirit are those that came on the day of Pentecost. That's why we're called Pentecostals, where we believe, to some, God gave apostles, prophets, evangelists, shepherds, teachers. So these are the gifts found in Timothy. We're looking at the gifts that are found in Corinthians. Yung mga ganong mga bagay po, no? So we know these things. That's why we believe in speaking in tongues. We also pray in intercession in a loud way. That's a Pentecostal way. We're very expressive when we worship. These are Pentecostal practices. Now, when you look at the root, we're Bapticostals. But not only that, in our church, we believed that if God was real, or God is real, then God must be real here on earth before He can be real in heaven. Kasi tignan niyo po yung katabi ninyo. Tanong mo siya, nakapunta ka na ng langit? Okay? Kung sagot niya hindi, tanong mo, gusto mo tulungan kita? Diba? Yung mga ganon, right? It's impossible. Wala pa sa atin nakakapunta. So, think about it. How do you know that it exists there? That's faith. But when we read the gospel, we could see that God shows Himself to us in our lives. And that's why our expression of theology is what is called full gospel application. That's why our focus is more on living than it is about dying. Diba? That's why you can really tell from our name what is important to us. Ang pangalan natin ay Bread of Life. Kaya, dapat ang kinakain natin tinapay, hindi kanin. Diba? Kasi dapat rice of life, joke lang. No? So these are part of our roots. No? These are things that enrich our understanding of our faith and what we're fighting for. Because 42 years ago, when we began the church, when we began Bread of Life, we began it because God gave a vision of faith to my father that he felt deserves a chance to live and grow. There are certain things about us that are specific in light of the whole of Christianity. And today, I'd like to look at that a little bit more so that we can look forward into what our legacy is. Now, if you have your Bibles, you can please open them with me to Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1 and 2. Now, in Hebrews chapter 12, we know that it was preceded by, bago po mag-Hebrews 12, nagkaroon po ng, siyempre, Hebrews 11, di ba? Alam ka naman Hebrews 13 bago ng 12. So Hebrews 11. Now, Hebrews 11 is known as the faith chapter. By faith, di ba? So it begins with an explanation of what faith is, and then it goes through a long list of people who were considered faithful. Abel, Abraham, Moses, Gideon, etc., etc., etc. Lahat ng mga tao who did not see God, who did not see what was the gift, but was faithful, and so it was credited to them as righteousness. Now imagine, it's like hearing a greatest hits. You know, this past week was Super Bowl Sunday. Sino po nakapanood Super Bowl? Wala? Okay. Ako rin, hindi ko nanood ng Super Bowl. Ang pinanood ko, yung Super Bowl halftime show. Sino nanood? Super Bowl halftime show. Okay, ayan, sa taas. Wala ba akong kaedad dito? So, last Monday here in the Philippines, Sunday in the United States, Kendrick Lamar, one of the best rappers in our time, was the one who headlined Super Bowl Sunday. Now, because of that, syempre, you know, I ended up watching it. I really like understanding the zeitgeist of our times. And so I was watching it with a group of people and we were discussing Kendrick Lamar. Kasi si Kendrick Lamar, his specialty is metaphor and imagery. So you have to pay close attention to understand what is happening. Ang dami niyang sinusubukan sabihin. Now, despite that, you know, you do not become a Super Bowl halftime headliner with a short career. So, mahirap kasi mahaba yung mga career na meron sila. That's why, sabi ko dun sa mga kasama ko, panuurin natin yung mga iba, i-compare natin, para masabi natin, is it nice, gusto ba natin, etc., etc. Now, syempre, one of the things that we watched was last year's. Sino po nag-headline last year? Hindi tayo familiar? Si Usher. Okay, sino kilala si Usher? Usher. Sa taas, meron. Usher. Sige, ayun si JR na lang. Diba? Parang nagpapaka-usher sa Pilipinas eh, no? Now, of course, if you were born or was you know, alive and kicking during the 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and you were about my age or so, si Usher was a big part of our cultural history. Yung tipong sa simula pa lang no 1997 all the way up to about 2013 or so. Yun yung career po ni Usher. Now imagine, he has been doing this for over 30 years. Si Kendrick Lamar, 15 years lang. So, me and my wife, we were watching, kinumpara lang namin kasi syempre, alam mo yun, gusto namin makita rin. Si Kendrick Lamar, medyo may build-up, mabagal, tas biglang hanggang umabot dun sa dulo, no? Yung kay Usher, from the start up to the end, 15 minutes lang kasi ang binibigay sa'yo sa Super Bowl. 15 minutes, yung tipong pagsimula niya hanggang pagtapos niya, yung parang sabi, parang grabe. Bakit? Kasi sa sobrang dami niyang kanta, ang kaya lang niya ibigay 30 seconds or so per song. So imagine that, no? Yung hindi ka pa, yung ine-enjoy mo pa lang yung kanta, nag-move on na siya. Yung parang ikaw, teka lang, pahabol muna ako. Di ba? Hindi ka makahabol sa mga nangyayari. Kaya sabi ng wife ko, towards the end, sabi niya, grabe, pinapanood ko yung kay Usher, pagod na pagod ako. Kasi sabi niya, it's the greatest hits of Usher. Now, you know, that's the reason why in certain shows and certain plays and movies and whatnot, after a climax of that magnitude, what you're supposed to do is rest. Diba? Kasi, syempre, pag puro pa ganon, ang hirap sundan. Yung kumbaga, manood kayo ng sine na action, yung pagkatapos niya talunin yung isang kunyari, si Fernando po, no, talunin niya lahat ng mga Hapon. Pagkatapos nun, di ba maghihilo muna siya ng sugat? Yung parang nangyari doon, pagkatapos mo talunin yung mga Hapon, ang ginawa ni Fernando, tinalo buong China. Parang ang hirap, di ba? Hindi ka makahabol. Parang, teka lang, may problema to ah. Now, imagine, Hebrews chapter 11 as like the Super Bowl Sunday. The greatest hits of the history of faith being shown to you in form. This is what God has been doing from the time of Abel all the way up to the time of Jesus. That's what was happening. Pinapakita, by faith, by faith, by faith, by faith, by faith, and it was credited to them as righteousness. Now, you hear all of that. The question is, where is the rest? Diba? Yun eh. You have to ask, paano ko hahabol? Paano ko hihinga? What should I do in light of all of this information? Now, enter Hebrews chapter 12. In Hebrews chapter 12, sabi, therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and the sin that clings so closely, and let us run with perseverance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of our faith, who for the sake of the joy that was set before him, endured the cross, disregarding its shame, and has taken his seat at the right hand of the throne of God. After the chapter 11 legacy of faith, what does the writer of Hebrews say? Sabi nga nung isang manunulat, with a conjunction that appears in the New Testament only here and in 1 Thessalonians 4 verse 8, the author connects the encomium of faith to this exhortation when he begins with this section with therefore, or in Greek, toi garon. It is as if he is saying, in light of the faith thus described, everything that was talked about, this is how we should then live. After hearing everything, after hearing all of the chapter 11 history and legacy of faith, what should we do? Hindi daw po pahinga. Sabi ko, grabe. Dapat pahinga after ng climax eh. Ano nangyari? After, ang sagot ng writer, therefore, let us lay aside every weight and the sin that clings so closely, and let us run with perseverance the race that is set before us. The foundational image of this complex sentence, which extends through the end of verse 2, is athletic. Ano daw po sabi? Ang tawag ng Hebrews 12 is for all of us to keep on running. Now, there's a very simple principle in life. Whenever something good is happening, continue in what is being done. You know, that's something that I think tayo po as Filipinos, we've had a little bit of a problem with. We do not have what is called a legacy mind. Yung utak natin, we're not thinking about history, we're not thinking about what we're trying to continue. You remember a few months ago, I think during MMFF, so this was either during Christmas or after Christmas, I showed this video of a historian talking about the kingdom, di ba? So the kingdom is the movie of Vic Soto. Now, what if the Philippines was not conquered? Now, that page is called Mighty History PH. And I appreciate it so much because in Mighty History PH, it tells us of a history that we're unfamiliar with. Bakit? Sino po dito Pilipino? Okay? Konti lang. Pilipino, di ba? Na nag-aral kayo sa Pilipinas ng grade school at high school. Okay. So, isabihin, nag-aral tayo ng history. Kailan nga yung Battle of Tirad Pass? Di ba? Nagsisikuan, ano nga ba nangyari sa Tirad Pass? Doon ata namatay si Rizal. Di ba? Yung hirap na hirap tayo sa history. Now, you notice this, our country is very weird. Our holidays are not related to our history. By the way, it's February. In America, it's called Black History Month. Their holiday is based on studying what happened to them. They have a holiday called Thanksgiving, di ba? Which is a time when the pilgrims came to America. So they're trying to remember things like that. They have history like MLK Day. Na ano nangyari nung si Martin Luther King namatay? You notice their holidays are connected to their history so they will not forget. Tayo sa Pilipinas, we have a habit of forgetting. We have a habit of forgetting and not having roots. Kasi yun yung problema eh, no? Kaya si Mighty History, yung ginagawa niya, sabi ko, na-appreciate ko yan ng sobra. Because we need to have a medium that teaches us our history. By the way, it's worse if you're from Manila. Sino ba dito parang ako, Manilenyo na walang kinikilalang probinsya kung hindi Manila? Ayan, okay? Now, tatay ko Ilonggo, nanay ko Ilocano. Pero I have never been to where my dad was supposed to be from, in Iloilo. And I've never been where my mom was supposed to be from, in Nueva Vizcaya. Yung tatay ko marunong mag-Ilonggo, ang nanay ko marunong mag-Ilocano, ako po, ang salita ko, Manilenyo. Hindi man lang Tagalog. Di ba? Kasi, pag makarinig ka ng Tagalog, yun yung mga sasabihin pag-aalis sila, yayao ako. Di ba? Alam mong Tagalog na Tagalog yan eh. Kasi pag ikaw yumao, patay ka na. Pero sa kanila, paalis lang sila. Sasakay lang pala sa jeep. Di ba? Alam mong Tagalog ka, pag sinabi mo, nakain ka na ba? Sabi ko, kahit kailan, di pa naman ako nakakain, buhay pa ako eh. No? Alam mong Tagalog ka sa ganon. So you notice, even yung salita ko, pang Manilenyo. Now you notice this. If you're Ilonggo, meron kang kultura na pinaghuhugutan. Kaya malakas yung roots mo eh. For example, no? Anong pagkaing Ilonggo? Ha? Batchoy, kansi, inasal, o, di ba? Anong pagkain Ilocano? Dinengdeng, ano pa? Pinakbit, bagnet, at yung longganisa na pwede sa mga hindi kumakain ng karne. Vegan. De, pero wag kayo kumain nun pag hindi kayo kumakain ng karne. Ha? Joke lang yun. Oh. You notice that there's a history. Now, ask ourselves a question. Ano ang pagkain ng Manilenyo? Yung tayo lang talaga meron yan. Maraming isaw kung saan. Maraming dinuguan kung saan. Magagalit ang Kapampangan sa atin. Pagpag. De joke, grabe kayo, sama. Hindi, pansinin nyo, ang hirap sagutin. Where are our roots? You know, it took me a long time to study and look at it until I figured out, hindi, pares. Pagkaing Manila, beef pares. Kasi na-imbento yan dito talaga sa Manila, no? Now, you notice, the roots are very important eh. I was talking to an Australian once upon a time, and this Australian is a business owner here in the Philippines. And sabi niya, you want to know how to get rich? Sabi ko, sige, I'll bite. I want to know. Sabi niya, look at what's happening in the West, and look at what is very nice today. Like, ano ang mga nangyayari sa kanluran o kaya sa developed world na uso? Sabi niya, in 5 years, that's going to be a big thing in the Philippines. All you have to do is to get ahead of the curve. Sagot ko, sabi ko, that's so sad. Why? Tignan niyo yung katabi ninyo. Sabihin mo sa kanya, alam mo ba? Inggitera ka. We fall for every single trend in the world. We don't have roots. We have trends. Sabi ko, grabe, no? And that's why ang dali natin gisahin sa sarili nating dugo, sa sarili nating taba, no? Because with no roots, how then do we discern life? It's so hard. We fall for emotions. We fall for what is hip, what is nice today. And we don't have a root that tells us, hindi, this is who we are and this is what we're fighting for. Yung sabi ko nga, it's so sad. Si Mighty History did a post recently answering some of her bashers. Bakit? Sabi nung isang basher niya, ba't ka ba stuck sa nakalipas? Hindi naman ako kikita ng pera pag pinag-usapan natin yung nakalipas. Sabi ko, tindi, no? Kawawa naman tayo. Ang tingin lang natin ang buhay tungkol sa pera. Kita lang tayo ng kita. Walang ugat. You see, that's why a root is important. A legacy mind is important. It keeps us focused on what we need to work on. What we need to work on, what we need to continue, what we need to learn from, what we need to change. Without all of this, will be like the politics of our country. Every 4 to 6 years, ine-erase lang natin yung nangyari para bago na naman. Sabi ko, grabe, no? All we do is fight against the previous administration so that our administration is nice because we know once we are lost, the next administration will badmouth our administration. Kawawa naman ang Pilipinas, no? You see, without roots, there will be no growth. And so, when it comes to a topic of legacy mind, we need to talk about what a legacy mind is and why it is important for us to have a legacy mind. You see, if there is something that we can learn from the whole of Hebrews chapter 12, according to Amy Peeler in her commentary on Hebrews, sabi niya, if there is something we can learn from what is being said in verse 2, is that we, as the followers of Christ, must run, not walk. Okay? Now, here's what that means. That admonition is not so much about speed. He does not imply that they should rush through life as about discipline. Why? Here's something that we need to know. It takes more training to run than to walk. Totoo, di ba po? It is a much harder thing to run than it is to walk. Moreover, they are in this demanding race for the long haul. Consequently, they can run this contest only through the act of endurance. In other words, what they face is not a sprint, but a marathon. Interpreters need discernment on this point. Why? For some of us who are listening, the experience of a marathon conjures up great difficulty, but also great joy. Diba? Maraming tao, gusto nila tumakbo ng marathon. Hindi dahil madali siya, pero alam nila pag matapos nila, matutuwa sila. However, for others, the image of a marathon appears as an impossibility, unfathomable even to attempt. Bakit? Sino po ba dito tumatakbo? Konti lang. Sa taas. Tumatakbo. Ayan. Now, you notice, iba tumakbo galing sa kama papunta sa CR pag naiihi ka. Maiksi lang yun eh. Iba rin ang 100 meters. Pag umabot ka na 1 kilometer, medyo hingal ka na. But once you get there, ang next goal mo is to have a 5 kilometer. Now, you're going to die when you run a 5 kilometer kasi syempre ang hirap. Pero once you get past that, your next goal is to get a 10 kilometer. Now imagine, pag maka 10 kilometers ka, sobrang proud mo na sa sarili mo. Pero at that point, hindi mo pa kahit kailan iisipin tumakbo ng 42 kilometers. Bakit? Times 4 kabigat yun. You know, that's the thing that I was talking about. Kasi si NT, our senior pastor emeritus, he's into running a lot. So minsan niyayaya niya ako sumali ng race, mga fun run at race. Siya ang gusto niya, 21 tsaka 42. Sabi ko, NT, pwede ba yung 5 lang? Sasabihin niya sa akin, sayang naman, pupunta pa tayo sa ibang bansa para sa 5. NT, hindi sayang sa akin yun. Sayang yung tumakbo ko na matagal at napagod. Diba? It's very different. Siya, he finds joy in it. Ako, I find parang grabe, ang hirap naman yan. But you know, if there is something that we can learn from what Hebrews is saying, Hebrews 11 leading to 12, ito daw po. Consequently, interpreters should not let the homiletic metaphor dissuade listeners from the aim of the passage, namely, the continuation of faith, which, as chapter 11 demonstrated, is achievable for everyone. Lahat tayo mahihirapan, lahat tayo mabibigatan, but if there is something that chapter 11 says, it is achievable for everyone. You see, a legacy mind tells us that it is difficult but possible. Whenever we're part of a legacy, it's not something that we'll find to be easy because the easiest thing to do is to just live life. Bahala na kung ano mangyari sa buhay. Kasi ang buhay, yan naman talaga eh. Kung ano na lang makuha natin, maging masaya na tayo dyan. Huwag na tayo lumaban, huwag na natin ipaglaban ng kahit ano. But you see, that's also a lie in and of itself eh. Kasi isipin po natin to, no? Maraming beses, iniisip natin, ang gusto natin sa buhay ay maging successful at maging mayaman. Itong dalawang bagay talagang part siya ng goal. There was a study that was done about 10 years ago to the millennials. The number one most important goal for millennials was to become successful. The number two most important was to become rich. Now, 10 years later, they revisited the same millennials and they asked the same question. Now, number one pa rin nila is to become successful, pero yung number two nila, hindi na to become rich. Bakit? For a lot of people, we know that success and riches, when we get them, hindi naman siya talaga nagbibigay sa atin ng ginhawa at kapayapaan. It tends to give us a more complicated life. And in the complexity of life, we suddenly lose sight of what's important. You know, there's something that Michael Easter calls comfort creep. That's something that a lot of us would experience. Why? The very things that made us succeed in life are also the things we forget when we become successful. Diba? Ano ibig sabihin po niyan? Now, I would always remember, yung tatay ko, sasabihin niya dati nung bata pa kami, alam mo, kami ng nanay mo, nung nagsimula kami ng buhay, wala kaming kahit ano. Ang unang Pasko namin, tuwang-tuwa kami kasi nasa kwarto lang kami, kumakain kami ng Jollibee at nagpupuri sa Panginoon. Sabi niya, kayo, mga anak ko, mga spoiled na kayo, may Noche Buena na kayo. Isip-isip ko, ikaw naman bumili nito eh. Wala naman kaming kakayanan bumili nito. Ikaw bumili nito lahat eh. Pero alam niyo po yun, sabi ko, grabe, when you begin, you're fine with anything. But the more you progress in life, di ba, papansin natin, there is more and more and more and more that we want. Now, here's the thing. We work hard, titiisin natin ang lahat para ma-achieve yung goal natin. But once we get there, we suddenly think that what we achieved is now what is called the new normal. Ang new normal is that feeling that this is how it's supposed to be. This is how comfortable it should be. Nawala yung dating pag-iisip natin, kaya natin kahit gaano kawala, kahit gaano kahirap, kasi wala naman tayo nung nagsimula tayo. That's called the comfort creep. Now, you know what happens? In a comfort creep, we begin with the most basic problem. We need to feed ourselves. Important? I would argue, the most important. Diba? Kung wala tayong makain, mamamatay tayo. Correct? Now, if we think about things that are important, that's the most important. Now, we get to a point in time, hopefully, if we work hard enough, that we will now not have food as our main problem. From quantity of food, the problem then becomes quality of food. Diba? Hindi na natin problema kung kailan tayo kakain or sapat ba yung kakainin. Ang sunod na tanong natin ay, masarap ba? Or masustansya ba? Di ba? Nagbabago. Nung dati naman, basta mabusog tayo, masaya na tayo. Ngayon, pag mabigat, or rather pag mahirap, hindi natin gusto, sasabihin natin, ayoko yung ulam. Hanap na tayo ng bago. No? Kaya hindi ko yung makalimutan eh. Meron akong nakausap isang beses na OFW. Sabi niya, Coach, alam mo, ba't ako nagtatrabaho na maigi? Kasi, ang kailangan namin, kada kumakain kami bilang pamilya, 3 ulam. Now, pansinin niyo po yun. Sino po dito, pag kumakain as a family, isa lang yung putahe? Yan. Okay? Sino dito, 2, 3? Okay? Now, you notice, bakit kailangan 2, 3? Kasi, yun ang upbringing. If you are a good Filipino family, usually you have that. Diba? Alam mong simple ka kasi isa lang yung putahe. Now, ito yun. Ang goal ng mga tao na to, nung unang panahon na, I'm not talking about today, this is about an older Filipino culture. The goal is to have 2 to 3 viands, iba-ibang klaseng pagkain. Now, pag ma-achieve mo yun, ngayon, ang goal ay hindi bumalik sa isang ulam. Diba? Now, tanong, sa mga taong isa lang yung ulam, buhay o patay kayo? Busog o hindi? Ba't kailangan ng 3? Ang sagot dyan, wala lang. Diba? Nakasanayan lang natin. Now, you notice, it becomes higher, and higher, and higher, and higher, it more complicated. Pahirap ng pahirap yung hinahanap natin. And then, we always feel yung stress natin ngayon is the same stress we had nung wala tayong makain. You notice? Success does not give us happiness. Success does not give us peace. Riches do not give us peace. In fact, it brings us more problems. And so we have to ask ourselves the question, so what then should life be? Anong dapat kong gawin sa buhay ko kung ang pursuit na binigay sa akin, hindi pala ako magiging masaya? Now, John Mark Comer, in his book, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, talks about life. Sabi niya kasi, your life is the byproduct of your lifestyle. Okay? By life, I mean your experience of the human condition. And by lifestyle, I mean the rhythms and routines that make up your day-to-day existence. The way you organize your time, the way you spend your money. There's a saying in business literature that I love. Every system is perfectly designed to get the results it gets. Usually, this is applied to widgets and the bottom line, but I love it for life as a whole. Because if the results you are getting are lousy, anxiety at a simmer, mild depression, high levels of stress, chronic emotional burnout, little to no sense of the presence of God, an inability to focus your mind on the things that make for life, then the odds are very good that something about the system that is your life is off kilter. May problema. The way that we've organized our morning or evening routine, our schedule, our budget, our relationship to our phone, how we manage our resources of time, money, and attention, something is out of whack. May problema. It's often quoted that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. But that's exactly what we do. We get a vision of the kind of life that is possible in Jesus. We go to church or read a book or listen to a podcast, and we catch a glimpse of the kind of life we ache for, one of emotional health and spiritual life. Our gut immediately says, yes, God, I want that life. We head home from church with all the willpower we can muster and set out to change. But then we go right back to living the exact same lifestyle. Wala nagbabago. It's the same cycle on repeat. Stress, tiredness, distraction. We feel stuck yet again. And then we wonder, what am I missing? Anong kulang sa buhay ko? This method of change simply does not work. What does? Honestly, the solution is simple. Very, very simple. If you want to experience the life to the full of Jesus, His non-stop, conscious enjoyment of God's presence and world, all you have to do is adopt not only His theology and ethics, but also His lifestyle. Just follow His way. Now, that's so interesting for me. Kasi sabi ko nga sometimes we don't think about this in terms of how to follow God. Na our lifestyle is what makes our life for us. Sabi nga we don't really count what we're doing in life. Recently, I was talking to a person and we were talking about health. And health is one of those things that is so indicative of our lifestyle. Bakit? We do not get diabetes unless it's type 1, di ba? On accident. It is the result of years and years and years of our eating and lifestyle. We do not get heart disease all of a sudden. It is the result of years and years and years of our experience and our lifestyle. You see, there is something that we're doing that is resulting in the life that we have. We do not get anxiety out of nothing. We do not get stress out of nothing. I was listening to this one person that was talking, sabi nung isang tao, I'm so stressed. Hirap na ako sa buhay ko. Sabi ko, tindi, no? Bakit? Tinignan ko yung buhay niya. Siya yung tipong tao na kada buwan may bakasyon. Hindi ko na alam anong gagawin. Sobrang bigat ng buhay ko. Linggo-linggo, nasa magandang restaurant kumakain na magandang pagkain, masarap na pagkain, at magandang lugar. Sila yung tipong tao na, alam niyo po yun, lahat ng meron sa buhay, nakukuha nila. Pero hindi ko maintindihan, sabi niya, stressed na stressed ako. Hindi ko malabanan. Isip ko, kung stressed yan, gusto ko makita ang hindi stressed. Bakit? Kasi kung stressed siya sa ganyang klaseng buhay, mapapaisip ka, ano kaya expectation niya sa buhay? Is it something that is supposed to be very easy? You notice? The circumstances of our life does not dictate what is happening inside. We can go through the worst of situations and still come out happy. But we can go through the best of situations and become extremely sad. What matters is what we carry inside of us. Kaya sabi nga we cannot just listen to God. We need to adopt the lifestyle of Jesus. Now, continuing. Sabi po dito, Frederick Dale Bruner is a top scholar on the Gospel of Matthew, and his insight into the paradox of an easy yoke is worth reading. Now, a yoke is a work instrument. Thus, when Jesus offers a yoke, He offers what we might think tired workers need least. Why? Pag pagod ka, ang kailangan ay pahinga. They need a mattress or a vacation, not a yoke. I hope you're laughing right now because that's so insightful and true. But Jesus realizes that the most restful gift He can give the tired is a new way to carry life, a fresh way to bear responsibilities. Realism sees that life is a succession of burdens, and we cannot get away from them. Thus, instead of offering escape, Jesus offers equipment. Jesus means that obedience to His Sermon on the Mount will develop in us a balance and a way of carrying life that will give more rest than the way we have been living. You know, going back to our legacy, I would never forget, kasi tayo po inside Bread, we have what are called discipleship verses. Kasi in every single church, again, we have several distinctives. But in Bread, when it comes to discipleship, our discipleship comes from a verse that says three things. Sabi, if anyone wants to come after me, he must deny himself, take up his cross daily, and follow me. Three things. Now, the first thing is to deny ourselves. You know, that's something that's very difficult to do. Bakit? Now, remember, 2 weeks ago, I think we talked about this. It takes us, we need to breathe every 7 minutes or we die. Okay? 7 minutes. We need to drink water every 3 days or we die. And we need to eat every 40 days or we die. Okay? So take note ha, gaano kadalas dapat huminga? Maximum, dapat 7 minutes na pagitan. Gaano kadalas dapat uminom? Dapat maximum 3 days. Gaano kadalas dapat kumain? Maximum, dapat 40 days. Now, tingnan nyo yung katabi nyo. Tanong mo, ba't gutom ka? Diba? Kaninang umaga, kumain yan. Pero gutom na siya ngayon. Inisip, tagal naman ni pastor magsalita o gutom na ako. Now, you notice why? Our bodies are genetically geared to self-preservation. It is very hard for us to say no to ourselves. But to say no to ourselves is integral to how we lead our lives as followers of Jesus. Bakit? God will never ask anything of us that will be comfortable to do. Kasi kung madali yan, hindi yan regalo, hindi yan sacrifice, hindi yan worship. We only know it is worship when it is painful to us or it is difficult to us. Now, the second thing is to take up our cross, not once, but daily. Bakit? There's this verse in Romans that's hard to understand. Sabi, present ourselves as a living sacrifice. Now, a sacrifice by definition is something you give once because it dies. Pag sinakripisyo mo, mamamatay eh. Di ba? But the Romans puts it in such a way na living sacrifice. Ang mahirap doon is your life, your living is the sacrifice. Now, can you imagine? We're taught how to die. But very few of us are taught how to live. Because to live is difficult. Kaya nga in Bread, what we talk about all the time comes from Martin Luther. It's called the altarhood of all believers. Na anong sabi ni Martin Luther? Ang ating worship sa Diyos ay yung ginagawa natin. If you are a student, your worship is the way that you study and do schoolwork. If you're a teacher, your worship is the way that you teach. If you're an engineer, your worship is the way that you build things. If you're a doctor, your worship is the way that you heal people. We notice this? Our worship is directly connected to our living. Now, the third is to follow me. Why? Because that is also something that is very difficult to do. I was in a conversation one time with an executive of a company. Now, when we were talking, we started talking about school. Sabi ko, I studied in La Salle. Sabi niya, oh yeah, I'm Ateneo. Sabi ko, I studied literature in college. Sabi niya, oh, ako, management engineering. So sabi ko, oh, management engineering? My dad is management engineering. So sabi ko, sabi niya, talaga, what batch was your dad? Sabi ko, somewhere in the 70s, hindi ko na maalala. No? So somewhere in the 70s yung batch niya. Now, sabi niya, oh, sige, I'll search for him sa FAME, yung database ng mga Ateneo graduates. So sabi ko, yeah, you're gonna find him kasi sa yearbook niya, he was voted most likely to succeed. Sabi niya, okay, talagang makikita ko yan kasi management engineering, sabi niya, is the best course, sabi nung kausap ko is the best course if you want to get rich. Sabi ko, bakit? Because management engineering trains you to become a CEO. Okay? Sabi ko, makes sense, sabi ko. Kasi initially, I'm not sure if you know this, but my dad only had one goal in life. To get rich or die trying. Totoo yun. Ang tatay ko, siyempre, yung kinikwento niya during the divorce of his parents, he had so much trouble, nahirapan sila, natulog daw siya dati sa cardboard nung unang divorce. So, siyempre, ang hirap ng buhay. And he never wanted to feel that way. And so, his only goal was to look for money. Kaya, nung daw siya, kakaiba yung tatay ko nung nag-counseling siya sa, yung high school? Career counseling ba tawag doon? Guidance counseling. Yun, so nung kausap niya yung guidance counselor niya, ang nangyari, tinanong niya, Ma'am, ano bang course sa Ateneo yung pinakayayaman ako? Sabi nung guidance counselor, management engineering. So sabi ng tatay ko, sige, management engineering. Now, alam niyo po yun, yung tatay ko yun yung goal niya when he was beginning. In fact, he had a best friend in management engineering na naging tito po namin, naging ninong ng isang kapatid ko. Yung tito namin na yun, literal, naging ubod ng yaman. Gano'ng kayaman? House in Beverly Hills rich. Ganon kayaman. Kasi nga, management engineering yung pinasok. Ito yung, hindi ko alam kung maaalala nyo, minsan nagkikwento yung tatay ko, na pumunta sila sa casino, tas naglaro sila ng blackjack, pero ang problema, binilang nila lahat ng cards, para hindi sila nagsugal, kumita sila ng pera, tas binan sila galing sa casino, hindi nyo na alam. Hindi yun sine, kwento ng tatay ko yun. No? So, ito yung best friend niya na kasama niya doon. Sobrang yumaman, sobrang umunlad. Now, when I was listening to that, sabi ko, grabe, nga, no? Because I would always remember, yun yung sasabihin ng tatay ko All he wanted was to become an autocrat. He wanted to be so rich. But here's the problem. He became an employee in Procter & Gamble, and then he left Procter & Gamble to become the manager, the production manager of the company of his friend. Na ang claim to fame nila, gumagawa sila ng mga pinakamagagandang golf bag sa buong mundo. Yung mga, Callaway. Sasabihin ko sana, Kalahan, parang may problema sa Kalahan Di ba? So yung mga ganon. Ang problema, nung time daw nila, hindi nila tinatatakan. So they would send these bags without any name, tas tatatakan sa ibang bansa, sasabihin, made in ganito. So sabi niya, sila daw yung gumagawa nun dati. Now, the problem was, one day, as he was going through life, he felt empty. Parang na-feel niyang may kulang sa buhay niya. At that time, pamilyado na yung tatay ko. May anak na po siya at lahat. And so, he leaves the house and goes for a run near Ateneo. Habang tumatakbo-takbo siya sa Ateneo, all of a sudden, he felt the call or the need to pray. Nung time na yun, yung tatay ko hindi po Christian. Buddhist po siya. Kaya kung alam niyo po yun, kung hindi niyo po kilala tatay ko, dyan palang malalaman yung weirdo siya. Bakit? Wala akong kilalang pinili nila maging Buddhist sa Pilipinas. 'Di ba? Lahat ng Buddhist na kilala ko sa Pilipinas, pinanganak na Buddhist. Yung tatay ko, pinanganak na Katoliko, nag-Buddhist. Naisipin niyo, no? Yung pagka-Buddhist niya, nanalangin siya. Sabi niya, Panginoon, kung totoo kayo, magparamdam kayo sa akin. And when he uttered those words, he suddenly saw 3 shooting stars shoot across the sky. And he felt a voice tell him, nandito ako. When he felt that, sipin nyo, nag-180 yung buhay niya. From being a production manager in a company, he left all of that to dedicate himself to God. Now that was so strange. Why? During that time, you didn't do that. It was so funny kasi I experienced that recently. A few weeks ago, nag-dedicate po ako ng bata. Nung problema, nung dumating ako sa dedication ng bata, ako po kasi I have a habit of being punctual. In fact, early. Gusto ko palagi maaga ako. Ang problema, nung dumating ako, maaga ako, hindi pala nakuha ng lahat ng tao yung memo. Lahat sila late. So dumating ako, ultimo yung bata na i-dedicate ko, hindi pa dumarating. So sabi ko, sige, kape muna ako. Pagbalik ko, dumating na yung magulang. Sabi, ay coach, thank you po for coming. Coach, pasensya na. Wala pa po yung mga ninong at ninang. Sabi ko, ganun ba? Sabi ko, coach, okay lang ba maghintay pa tayo ng konti? Sabi ko, paano naman tayo magde-dedicate kung walang ninong at ninang? Siyempre, hihintayin natin yung mga ninong at ninang. Ay, sige po coach, pasensya na. Upo ka muna dyan sa table na to. Hindi sa table, sa upuan. Now, nung upo ako, isa-isa nagsidatingan yung mga tao. Now, alam niyo po yun, it was so funny kasi doon ako, apparently, pinaupo nung family doon sa table ng mga ninong at ninang. So, isa-isa sila dumating. Now, siyempre, hindi kami magkakakilala. Sabi, bro, dito ka na umupo. So, pag upo ng isang ninong, sabi niya sa akin, hi, hello, ninong ka rin ba? Sabi sa akin. Sabi ko, hindi po, ako po yung pastor, ako po yung magde-dedicate. Ba naman, alam niyo ginawa, hined to toe ako. Sabi ko, ano ibig sabihin nun? Head to toe. Alam mo yun? Sabi ko, okay. Tapos sabi, okay. Saan yung church mo? Sa Bread of Life po, dyan sa may Quezon City. Okay. Paano mo kilala yung member po siya. Tapos sabi, mamaya, nag-usap na kami tungkol sa mga kung ano-ano. And apparently, we had a lot of common friends. Kasi yung sa Lasal rin siya nag-aral, yung mga ganon, etc., etc. Marami kaming commonality. So mamaya, nagkikwentuhan kami tungkol sa mga kakilala and all of that. Tapos mamaya, sabi nung isang ninong, sabi niya sa akin, pasensya na, pero gusto ko ilang itanong. Tapos tumigil siya. Pero sana wag ka ma-insulto, Tapos tumigil siya. Isip-isip ko. Sigurado ako nakaka-insulto to. Kasi hindi mo sasabihin nyo kung hindi nakaka-insulto yung sinasasabihin, di ba? Tapos biglang sabi niya sa akin, pero ba't ka nagpastor? Sabi niya, di ba walang pera dyan? Kasi hindi niya ma-make sense, yung medyo pareho kami ng mundo na iniikutan, pero siya, real estate developer siya, ako pastor. So hindi niya maintindihan, no? Why? You know, when my father entered into the ministry, you did not become a pastor by choice. Nagpapastor ka kasi wala ka ng future. Di ba? Wala kang magawa, magpastor ka na lang. Yung parang, magpari ka na lang, kaysa sasalot ka ng lipunan. When my father met God, he started sharing about God to his friends. And that began one of the movements that was so strange during the 1970s and 80s. Why? There were 3 of them who were Ateneo graduates, who were already in the corporate world, rising in the corporate world, who left all of it to follow God and dedicate themselves to God. That was my dad, Pastor Gus Leasing of Word for the World, and Pastor Babes Paulate, who is now a missionary in America. Sila yung tatlong mga executive, mga high-ranking, na iniwan nila lahat para sa Diyos. You know, that was so strange in that time, unheard of. But that's what God is calling us to do eh. You know, yun eh. May empty sa buhay natin, may kulang. How do we fill it? We're not gonna fill it by doing what we keep on doing. The only way we can fill our lives is by dedicating ourselves to something much larger. That's why, you know, I spoke one time to a person who wanted to become a pastor. Pero alam niyo po yun, sabi ko, ang unang tanong ko, sabi ko, ba't mo gusto magpastor? Sabi niya, unang-una kasi, mahal ko si Lord at pangalawa, mahal ko yung church. Sabi ko, sige, pwede natin subukan. Training kita. Bukas magpakita ka dito sa crossroad. Sabi niya, Coach, pwede ba 6 months from now? Sabi ko, bakit? By the way, take note, this is a very good person. Mabuting tao siya. Meron siyang burden sa puso niya. Sabi lang niya, pwedeng 6 months from now. Sabi ko, bakit? Kasi coach, kakapasok ko lang sa bagong trabaho, ayoko naman iwanan sila. Sabi ko, ayaw mo sila iwanan. Pero kala ko ba gusto mo sundan ng Diyos? Oo nga po coach, kaya nga 6 months from now, para pwedeng maganda yung record ko. Sabi ko, Sir, pasensyahan tayo pero hindi ka pa handa magpastor. Sabi ko, you think wala kaming mga iniwan para sundan ang tawag ng Diyos? You know, when I became a pastor, I had to say no to so many opportunities. In my college years, I was being recruited to drop out of college and join a startup company. Hindi pa ako nag-graduate, second-year student po ako sa college. Tinawagan ako, sabi, is this Pietro Paulo Conde? Yes. Sabi niya, I'm here to offer you a job. Sabi ko, I'm still in college. Yes, I know. Sabi niya, I'm offering you a job. I'm asking you to drop out of college to join my company. Sabi ko, how did you hear about me? From God. The joke. Yeah. How did you hear about me? Sabi, oh, one of your college classmates who's now working under me speaks very highly about you. And I asked if there are any people who would be a very good fit to our company, and she suggested you. So sabi ko, oh, okay, I'm still in college and I'm currently predisposed with something else. Sabi niya, yes, I will pay you 30,000 a month to leave all of that. Sipin niyo, college student pa lang ako. Wala pa akong kahit ano nun. But at that point, I have already committed to ministry. They were offering me money, hindi pang entry level, to join their company. Sabi ko, I said no to all of that because I said yes to God. And sabi ko, that's just my story. If you listen to every single pastor who committed themselves to God, it was because they said no to something else. May tinalikuran silang buhay so they can follow God. Sabi ko, you know you're not ready to be a pastor because you're not willing to turn away from the life that you have. You see, that's what bread began with. Mga magagandang future, magagandang kinabukasan, tinalikuran yun lahat para ibigay ang buhay sa Diyos. You see, kaya sabi, it's about following God. Now, why is this important? You see the genius of Jesus' invitation? There's an emotional and even spiritual weight to life. We all feel it, especially as we age. An easy life is a myth, if not a red herring, the byproduct of an advertising-drenched and social media-duped culture. Life is hard, full stop. No comma, no but, no end note. All the wise men and women of history have said as much. No new technology or substance or pill will ever erase humanity's fall. Best case scenario, we mitigate its effects as we advance Jesus' return. But there's no escaping the pain. Why do you think there's so much addiction in our world? Not just substance abuse, but the more run-of-the-mill addictions to porn or sex or eating or dieting or exercise or work or travel or shopping or social media or even church. And yes, even church can be an addiction. Why? Because we use it as an escape instead of something to equip us to face our challenge. That's why Jesus does not offer us an escape. He offers us something far better, equipment. He offers his apprentices a whole new way to bear the weight of our humanity with ease at his side, like two oxen in a field tied shoulder to shoulder, with Jesus doing all the heavy lifting at his pace. Slow, unhurried, present to the moment, full of love and joy and peace. You see, an easy life isn't an option, but an easy yoke is. When I say that a legacy is difficult but possible, it is impossible alone. But it is only possible if we choose to take on Jesus' yoke in life. What does an easy yoke look like? It's not an easy life. Yun nga po yung sinasabi ko eh. You know, I have learned something in my own life. It's not easy to be the son of my father. I've shared that story once upon a time where I shared that at the age of 18, I was kicked out of my own house and left to fend for myself and find something to die for. And at that age, I committed myself to God. Kasi sabi ko, Lord, kung wala akong masandalan, ikaw na lang sasandalan ko. Pag hindi mo ako bitawan, hindi ako bibitaw. That was 15, 16 years ago. And from that time on, I have only had God to rely on. And alam niyo po, it was up and down. Ang daming mga moments na magaganda, pero marami ring moments na pangit. Kasi ganyan talaga ang buhay. And you know, I said yes to God no matter what happens. And that's why I've spent Christmas alone in an airport. I've spent so much of our family vacations away from my family. Sila nag-e-enjoy, ako nagtatrabaho. I've done all of this because my life was saying yes to God. Because if there was something that was so difficult, it's my dad loved the church more than he loved his family. Sabi niya, sa buhay ko, pangalawa lang kayo. Ang unang commitment ko ay sa Diyos at sa church. You know, that was hard. But you know, sabi ko nga eh, there was a full circle moment where it all made sense. Now that's the reason why even nung nag-aral po ako sa Lasal, ako ang nagbabayad ng sarili kong tuition, lahat. When I was 18, tumigil na ako kumuha ng pera sa magulang ko. Kaya yun rin yung rason kung bakit sa Lasal, sobrang konti lang ng mga units ko at lahat, yun lang afford eh. Yun lang kaya bayaran at lahat eh. But you know, sabi ko nga eh, this journey of faith that God put me on led me to this moment. A few years ago, when my father started getting sick, siyempre marami rin po siyang gustong gawin pa po. Kahit pa paano kasi yung tatay ko may pagkabanidoso, alam mo yun, malinis siya tignan. So isipin nyo, no, may sakit na siya, masama na pakiramdam niya, hindi lumalabas ng bahay. Ang pinabili ba naman sa akin pang-ahit? Nag-text siya sa akin, Pipo, pwede ba magpabili ako ng pang-ahit sa'yo? Sabi ko, sige dad. Sabi niya, alam kong marami kang trabaho, pero kung may oras ka lang. Sabi ko, sige, isip ko naman kahit sa grocery meron. Kasi pang-ahit lang yan. Maarte pala tatay ko. Ang kinakailangan, Philips na 3-in-1 safety shaver. Alam mo yun, parang sabi ko kakaiba, yung parang mukha siyang pang-alien na device na parang hindi ko maintindihan, no? Yung parang ganun. Sabi niya, ang meron lang yan sa ganitong store, pakihanap na lang. Kaya pala sabi niya, kung may oras ka lang. Sabi ko, kakaiba. So, siyempre ako nagsimula ako mag-research, tingin-tingin ako ng konti, no? Sabi ko, okay. Ba naman, 16,000 yung pang-ahit. Isip-isip ko. Kaya nga ako may balbas para wala ng pang-ahit eh. Di ba? Kasi ito ako, naghahanap ng pang-ahit, no? So sabi ko, sige dad, ako na bahala, maghahanap ako, drive ako. So sabi niya, sige, daan ka sa bahay muna. Kasi nakakahiya naman sa'yo, bigyan kita ng pera, pambili nung shaver. Now, you know, that was so difficult for me. Because, take note, no? 18 pa lang ako, hindi na ako kumuha ng kahit isang kusing sa tatay ko. That was his choice, not mine. Pero kung may panindigan siya, may panindigan rin po ako eh. Siguro kung meron mang isang bagay na napulot ko galing sa kanya, matigas rin ulo ko. Matapang rin ako, masyado rin akong palaban kahit minsan wala na sa lugar. So panindigan niya yun, panindigan ko rin yun hindi humingi. Now imagine niyo po noon, no? Nung tinanong ako ng tatay ko, bumili ng bagay, senior pastor na ako, 32 years old. Hindi ko alam kung ano magiging reaction ko kasi parang hindi ko alam kung nakaka-insulto ba to o ano. Nung naging adult ako, never mo ako binigyan, never mo ako tinulungan, never sa lahat ng mga bagay. Tapos ngayon, bibigyan mo ako. Ayun, kinento ko yun sa asawa ko, sabi ko, alam mo, basag na basag ako nung sinabi niya yun. Because it felt weird to me. It did not feel normal. But you know what I told my dad? Sabi ko sa kanya, you don't have to give me anything. Because you gave me the capacity to buy everything I want and more. Hindi mo man ako inabutan ng pera, pero binigyan mo ko ng kakayanan, harapin ang buhay, at labanan siya, at manalo. Kaya sabi ko, hindi ko kailangan yung pera mo. Gusto mo ikaw pabigyan ko ng pera? Wow, hindi. Joke lang, hindi ko sinabi yun. Sabi ko, bahala na ako, bukas nandyan na yan sa bahay. So binili ko, binigay ko sa kanya. You know, it was so difficult for me because I realized something at that moment. I never had an easy life, but I do know what it feels like to have an easy yoke. Kasi nung pinahirapan ako at nadaanan ko to lahat, it made me learn how to rely on God much deeper. And when I learned how to rely on God much deeper, it opened my life into so many different directions. That's why, alam niyo po yun, sabi ko nga my life is not easy, but you hear me all the time nagsasalita, tawa ako ng tawa, nagpapatawa ako palagi. Galit na galit nga yung mga tao sa akin nung in-announce ko na namatay yung tatay ko, kasi nag-iyakan sila. Sabi ko sa kanila, namatay kayo ng tatay? Kasi ako nakangiti. Hindi nila maintindihan. Sabi, ikaw naman, Coach Pip, ba't ka ganyan? Yung alam mo yun, yung nahirapan sila. But you know why I can smile? Sabi ko nga, I understand what an easy yoke is. Hindi ito kakayanan ko. Hindi ito ako. Alam kong meron akong nasasandalan kasi. Meron akong nasasandalan na pinapadali yung buhay, kaya kahit gaano kabigat ang buhay, by the way, mabigat ang buhay yung uncle ko, 96 years old na matay, walang puting buhok. Ako 34, puno na ng puting buhok. Ang bawat isa dyan, isa sa inyo. Pero mabigat ang buhay, pero magaan ng pagdala ko. Why? Because my yoke is easy and my burden is light. A legacy is not easy, it is difficult. But what Hebrews 11 says, it is achievable and possible for every single one of us. Ang sikreto lang, kaya ba natin sandalan ang Diyos na nagbibigay sa atin ng easy yoke? Now, the second thing that I'd like to leave is that a legacy is also a legacy of love. It is something that comes not because we're angry or hurt or pained, but because there is a deep love within us that wants to make of this world something. Now, bago tayo magpatuloy, I'd like to share this video. This was done by Terence, yung anak ni NT, na telling us how bread began and where bread is heading. No? Can you please have the legacy video first? somewhere around 1993 was the first and last time I ever met my grandfather. My grandfather was a ship captain, tatay ng tatay ko, who during World War II served in the Panay guerrillas. I will never forget because my dad would always remind me of our history. Yung lolo ko was part of the Ninita unit of the Panay guerrillas. A unit during World War II that was renowned for its effectiveness in guerrilla warfare. So, post-World War II, naging regalo po ng Amerika sa mga sundalo ng Ninita unit na nag-survive was automatic American citizenship for them and their whole family. No application process, no waiting period, nothing, automatic citizen. When this citizenship came along, my grandfather and grandmother were already separated. My dad and his sister lived with their mom, or rather was with their mom, estranged from their father. But yung lolo ko po, inoffer niya yung citizenship sa lahat sa kanila. And all of them took it. And that's why my dad's whole family died in America, all of them as American citizens. All of them except my father. And during the last time that my father spoke and met his dad in 1993, inulit ng tatay niya yung tanong sa kanya, ayaw mo ba mag-Amerika para mas maganda ang buhay mo? I never forget what my father said. Sabi niya, Dad, kung gusto niyo mag-Amerika, kayo na lang. Kasi kung lahat tayo umalis ng bansa natin, sinong matitira para mahalin at alagaan ang Pilipinas? That was the one thing that was so important to my father. That's why during our talks, he would talk about how difficult it was. Kasi once upon a time, we almost became Assemblies of God. Kasi yun yung seminary kung saan nag-aral yung tatay ko. But my father would always be haunted by revelations. The book of Revelations in the Bible, where it says, at the end of the age, we will all worship in our own people groups in the presence of God. The word there is ta-ethne. Ta-ethne, ethne is where we get the word ethnic. Ang ibig sabihin nun ay sa lahi mo. Ikaw at ang lahi mo ay magpupuri sa Panginoon sa katapusan ng panahon. Minumulto yung tatay ko dun kasi sabi niya, kung ang lahi ko hindi magkaroon ng pagkakataon magpuri sa sarili nilang paraan, pagdating ng panahon na nasa harapan na tayo ng Diyos, paano tayo magpupuri bilang Pilipino kung ang pananampalataya natin ay Amerikano? Kaya ang tatay ko, humindi siya sa asosasyon ng Assemblies of God. That was the first time my dad said no to an association, but it will not be the last. Over the next few years, the Evangelical Council, etc., lahat niyayaya tayo to join. And every single time, my father would say no. During some of his moments of candidness with me, sabi niya sa akin, sometimes, nagre-regret ako na hindi ako sumali sa asosasyon. Sabi ko, bakit, Dad? Siyempre, ako kasi nung pinanganak ako, buo na ang bread eh. Sabi niya, siyempre, ang hirap eh. Alam mo, ang hirap na wala kang sinasandalan kung hindi Diyos, ha? Sabi niya, ang maganda kasi sa asosasyon, mayroon silang mga backer na puti, na foreigner, na siyempre mas malakas yung pera nila kaysa sa atin eh. Kada naghihingalo sila, pwede sila lumapit. Tayo, pag naghihingalo tayo, pag nahihirapan tayo, wala tayong ibang sinasandalan kundi Diyos. Kaya sabi niya, minsan ang hirap. Nung tumanda ako, mas lalo pa, sabi ko sa tatay ko, nagre-regret ka pa rin ba? Minsan. Sabi, hindi na. Hindi talaga. Alam mo, minsan naramdaman ko lang yun, pero hindi ako nagsisi sa ginawa ko. Kasi napatunayan ko na ang Diyos mahal niya ang Pilipinas at ang Pilipino. That's the reason why, if you pick up a book called Asia and the Pentecostals, we are on record there as the only megachurch that is indigenously owned and built. A megachurch is a church with a membership of over 10,000 people na natayo natin ang crossroad at lahat na walang suporta ng kahit sino kung hindi ang Pilipino at ang Pilipinas. That's still in the history books. Walang ibang nakagawa nun so far except us. Sabi ng yung alam niyo po yun, it all began because of that one statement eh. Kung lahat tayo umalis ng Pilipinas, sino ang matitira para mahalin ang Pilipinas? Maybe for some of us, we're thinking, why is it that when we do things, we're deeply distinct and Filipino? That's why. Bakit yung mga awitin natin Tagalog? Marami sa kanila Tagalog. Ba't ang preaching style natin, kahit na kayang-kaya naman natin mag-English sana, ba't gamit pa rin tayo ng gamit ng Tagalog at Pilipino? Bakit sobrang nagbabarong tayo, nagsusuot ng mga kung ano-anong Pilipino? It's because of that. It all came from that position of love. Because the question is, how do we worship God in our people groups if we do not even have the freedom and the capacity to worship as our own people? You see, that's what love does. Sabi nga ni Gary Chapman sa kanyang librong The Five Love Languages, when it comes to a matter of love, the mistake that a lot of us do or make is that we think that love is supposed to be easy. Sabi niya, let me return to the question I raised in chapter 9. What if the love language of your spouse is something that doesn't come naturally for you? I'm often asked this question at my marriage seminars and my answer is always, so? Paano kung yung partner natin, yung minamahal natin, hindi pareho yung love language sa atin? Now, sabi niya, my wife's love language is acts of service. One of the things I do regularly for her as an act of love is to vacuum the floors. Now, do you think that vacuuming floors comes naturally for me? My mother used to make me vacuum. All through junior high and high school, I couldn't go play ball on Saturday until I finished vacuuming the entire house. In those days, I said to myself, when I get out of here, one thing I am not going to do. I am not going to vacuum houses. I'll get myself a wife to do that. Tapang, no? But now, sabi niya, I vacuum our house. And I vacuum it regularly. Kung Pilipino yan, ang tawag natin sa kanya, takosa. Ayaw mo mag-vacuum o sige ka, kilalanin mo asawa mo. Pero hindi po takosa yun eh. Tignan nyo, no? There's only one reason I vacuum the house. Ano ang sabi? Love. You couldn't pay me enough to vacuum a house. But I do it for love. Listen to this, no? You see, when an action doesn't come naturally to you, it is a greater expression of love. When an action doesn't come naturally to you, it is a greater expression of love. Sabi nga niya, in the end, comfort will never be the issue. We are talking about love, and love is something you do for someone else, not something you do for yourself. A legacy of love is not about doing what is comfortable, but rather doing what is needed out of love. Last Friday was Valentine's Day. Sino po nakapag-celebrate ng Valentine's? Sa taas? Kinakahiya nyo ba? Bakit? Nagsisisi kayo sa mahal? Di ba? No, Valentine's. Proud. Nag-Valentine's. Ayan. Buti. Now, alam niyo po, me and my wife, we don't celebrate Valentine's Day. Part na to ng aking panindigan when I was growing up na I do not celebrate anything of my own. I don't celebrate birthdays, I don't celebrate victories. Wala akong habit na ganyan. And so, in Valentine's, hindi rin po ako nagse-celebrate. By the way, last Friday, me and my wife were together the whole day, not to celebrate Valentine's, but to work. Kasi last Friday, I officiated the wedding and I spoke at a funeral on the same day. Now, both of it was in Cavite, pero magkalayo sa isa't isa. Yung isa nasa may silang, Yung isa, nandun banda sa may Kawit. Now, ganun kalayo, no? Buong araw po kami nasa kotse. But you know, it was so funny kasi my wife, I feel blessed when I think about her. Kasi, alam niyo, minsan yung mga ibang babae, hindi mo lang mabigyan ng rosas, galit na. Yung asawa ko, nandun kami, Valentine's Day, nagtatrabaho, nasa daan, sobrang traffic kasi lahat ng tao gusto mag-celebrate ng Valentine's. Pero nakatawa pa, tawa ng tawa, ngiti ng ngiti. Kaya sabi ko, alam niyo, yan din ang gamit ng partner eh. Dapat yung partner mo nasasandalan eh. But you know, yun nga no, from Tagaytay, papunta dun sa kabilang part ng Cavite, pinadaan po kami sa isang diversion road na kaliwat kanan Talahiban. So gabi na po to, no? Now, 1 oras kami mahigit nagdadrive sa Talahiban. Sabi ko, 2 lang ang pwede mangyari. Isa, ma-hold up kami. Pangalawa, may magpakitang white lady. Kasi talaga, 1 oras, ang dilim, grabe. Sabi ko, kakaiba to ah. Yung asawa ko, gutom na. Sabi ko, gutom na ako. Ang hirap na. Yung kasi galing sa sa wedding, syempre hindi naman kami nagstay para sa reception kasi magsasalita pa po ako sa burol, di ba? So dire-diretso, galing sa pag-alis namin hanggang sa pagpunta, walang kain. Gutom na asawa ko. Sabi ko, sige. Ang unang fast food na makita natin, pupuntahan natin. Okay? So drive kami, ang tagal. Oras. Paglabas, ang unang nakita namin, Jollibee. Sabi ng asawa ko, yun, Jollibee. Sabi ko, wag dyan. Maarte pa no? Maarte pa. Ayaw pa. Yung asawa ko, saan tayo? Doon naman sa medyo kahit papano, healthy kahit papano. Pwede na. Sabi niya, ayun, McDo, wag dyan. Asawa ko, gutom na, no? May KFC, wag dyan. Sabi niya, yung medyo healthy naman kahit papano. Yung asawa ko, alam mo yun, yung konti-konti, dumidilim na yung paningin no? May nakita kaming Chowking, sabi ko, dyan. May gulay dyan. Di ba? Pasok kaming Chowking. Now, nagulat ako Friday, no? Valentine's, payday. Sabi ko, kakaiba. Kasi first time ko makita ang Chowking, nakala mo may blockbuster na sine na lumabas kasi yung pila hanggang labas. Sabi ko, grabe to ah. Sabi ko sa asawa ko, sige, pasok ka na. Hanap ka na ng upuan sa atin, mag-o-order ako para sa ating pagkain. So, from the time na pumasok siya hanggang sa nakapag-order ako, siguro 15 minutes na nakalipas. Paghanap ko sa asawa ko, nakatayo pa rin siya sa tabi. Sabi ko, wala ka pa rin nahanap na upuan? Wala, ang daming tao talaga eh. Sabi ko, madali lang yan. Alam mo gawin natin? Tumabi tayo sa table, tapos panuurin natin sila kumain. May hiyayan aalis. Hindi, joke. Hindi tayo ganyan. No? So, ang ginawa ko, tumitingin ako, tapos nakita ko, meron isang table, patapos na sila kumain. Yung parang, alam mo yun, nagpupunas na lang ng bibig at lahat. So, ang ginawa ko, linapitan ko, sabi ko, excuse me po, patapos na po ba kayo kumain? Siyempre, alam mo yun, hindi siguro sanay ang tao na linalapitan. Sabi niya, ay, opo. Sabi ko, okay lang po ba pagkatapos yung kami uupo dito? Sabi niya, ay, opo. Agad-agad tumayo na, hindi pa tapos kumain eh. Sabi ko, kakaiba. So, siyempre, upo na kami. No? Upo, lininis na yung table at lahat. Now, alam niyo po ba't kumakain sa fast food? Kasi fast siya. Di ba? By the time na nakaupo kami, 20 minutes na lumipas. Wala pa rin pagkain namin. Nung umabot ng 40 minutes, yung asawa ko, medyo sumasama na talaga yung tingin. Sabi niya, nasa iyo ba yung resibo tsaka yung number? Sabi, akin na nga. Punta siya sa harap, dun sa kung saan. Ang problema, pagpunta niya dun, bumalik siya sa akin. Sabi niya, alam mo ba yung sabi nila dun sa harap? Lahat ng tao galit na dun. Sabi nung isang babae, asan na yung order ko? 1 oras na ako naghihintay dito. Sabi ko, sana hindi naman 1 oras yung pagkain natin. Sabi ko, sige, hintayin na lang natin. Sige, kausapin ko lang, magtatanong lang ako. Now, pinapanood ko yun lahat. Sabi ko, grabe, ang init na ng mga ulo ng mga tao. Galit na sila. Alam mo yun po yun? Kung naglaro kayo ng Diner Dash, na-imagine nyo yung umuusok na yung ulo. No? Nakikita mo na parang may visual ka na gano'n eh. So, sabi ko, grabe yung init ng ulo ng mga tao na. Kitang-kita ko yung mga nagtatrabaho, stress na. Kasi siyempre, alam niyo po yun, hindi nila alam kung saan nila huhugutin yung Shanghai eh. Di ba? Hindi nila alam kung saan manggagaling at lahat. Sabi ko, sige, okay, kaya natin yan. So, nung mga, medyo tumagal pa ng konti, lumapit na ako, sabi ko, Kuya, wala pa ba yung pagkain namin? Sir, ano po ba number nyo? Ito po. Sige. I-follow up ko na. Pero mukhang yun na yun, no? Sunod ng ilalabas. Sabi, sige, salamat salamat. Now, syempre, nung lumabas, pa isa-isa. Pero sabi ko, ayoko hintay ng pa isa-isa, baka mamaya bukas pa kami kumain. No? So, nung kada lumalabas, sabi ko, Kuya, sige, dalhin ko na to sa table namin para makasimula na. Sabi, sige po, ilalabas na lang namin, dadalhin namin sa table mo. Now, ito yon, galit lahat ng tao, no? Valentine's. Init ng ulo ng mga tao, galit na. Yung isa daw na babae, sabi, asan na yung halo-halo ko? Sabi ng asawa ko, baka pwedeng umupo ka muna at kumain kasi hindi mo naman sasabayin yung ulam tsaka halo-halo. Pero galit na talaga. Sabi ko na sa asawa ko, Happy Valentine's. Ito ang mga taong nagmamahalan. No? Sabi nung sinmula ako dalhin yung pagkain, narinig ko, kasi meron doon mga cleaner rin. Hindi sila mga waiter. No? Yung mga naka-hairnet, naka-gloves, may tinutulak po na parang cart na pangkuha ng mga plato, etc., malinis ang table. Tinawag siya ng manager, sabi niya, Juan, pakitulungan muna si Sir, kasi yung pagkain nila palabas na pero pa konti-konti lang, paki-assist naman sila. Now yung cleaner, isipin niyo po, no? Cleaner. Sabi, opo sir, okay po, ako bahala, nakangiti. Now, tumatak po sa akin yun kasi sa lahat ng tao nakasimangot, siya lang nakangiti. Dinala yung pagkain namin, isa-isa, lahat ng lumalabas. Para alam niyo po yun, halos tumatakbo pa siya sa excited. Now, pagbaba niya ng pagkain namin, sabi ba naman sa akin, You're welcome po sir, ako po pala si ganito, ganyan-ganyan, at pag may kailangan po kayo, wag po kayong mahiyang lumapit at humingi ng tulong. Alam mo, sabi ko, ako tsaka asawa ko, sabi ko, grabe. Sa lahat ng mga tao dito, yan lang ang taong may pagmamahal. Lahat ng tao nag-chowking para sa Valentine's pero walang pagmamahal na dala-dala. Itong tao na tong cleaner, now, malaki ba sweldo ng cleaner? Di ba? Mag-a-above and beyond ka pa ba para sa cleaner position? Hindi di ba? Pero kaya tumatak siya sa akin Kasi sabi ko, itong tao na to, grabe, pinanood ko sa buong time kumakain ako. No? Lahat ng tao tinutulungan, excited na excited. Wala pa po kayong puwan. Sige po, maghahanap po ako ng puwan para sa inyo. Nakahanap na po kayo dyan. Sige, okay. Grabe, talagang, sobrang tulong lang siya ng tulong sa lahat ng tao. Sabi ko po, grabe, siguro kaya tayo pinapunta ng Diyos sa Chowking at hindi sa Jollibee. Para makita yung tao na yun. Kaya sabi ko, in the rush of Valentine's, baka nakalimutan ko na ako rin. Tinuturuan rin ako ng Diyos. When I was watching that, sabi ko, that's what love is. You don't do things that you want. You do things that is needed because your life is filled with love. So fast food po yun. Ginawa ko, nung paalis na kami, sabi ko, Kuya, patulong naman hindi namin maubos kasi yung pagkain. Pwede mo ba kami tulungan mag-take out? Sabi niya, sige po sir, supot na lang po ba o gusto niyo ng box? Sabi ko, yung box naman para hindi naman kami mukhang may basura. Di ba? Sige po, 5 pesos po yung box. Sabi ko, Kuya, ikaw na bahala dun. Ganun po ba sir? Hindi, joke lang. Maghahanap lang kami ng 5 pesos. Di ba? So, sige po sir, ako na bahala. Patakbo siya. Linigpit niya yung aming mga pagkain. Pagbalik sa amin, sabi, ito po sir. So, pag-abot sa amin ng pagkain, inabutan ko siya ng pera. Sabi niya, sir, 5 pesos lang po. Oo nga. Para sa'yo yan. Alam mo, inabutan ko siya ng pera. Tinignan niya, salamat po sir. Tapos biglang sabi niya, Happy Valentine's. Alam mo, tinitingnan ko, sabi ko sa kanya, may asawa na ako Kasi sabi ko, pagkatapos sabihin na Happy Valentine's, ano sunod doon? Hahalikan ako? Hindi ko alam. But when I saw all of that, sabi ko, that's what it is. That's what love is. Sometimes we make the mistake of thinking love is emotion. Feel ko, love you, I love you too. Baduy. What love is an action you don't want to do. But you do because that is what is needed. That's how you know what love is. hindi basa, hindi pula, wala siya sa rosas, tsokolate, o balloon. Nandun yun sa puso ng taong willing gawin yung dapat. You see, that's what a legacy love is. We're called in our own way to figure out if our journey is part of a legacy love. Kasi kung part tayo po nun, yan ang hihingin sa atin ng Diyos eh. Gawin yung dapat at gawin yung kailangan. Hindi yung gawin yung gusto lang natin. Siguro bago po tayo manalangin, may papakita lang po akong video sa inyo. Kasi during Christmas, pinanood po ng pamilya ko yung buong Harry Potter series, 1 to 8. Tapos pagkatapos nun, pinanood po namin yung 20th anniversary Return to Hogwarts. At dun po, pinakinggan ko po yung ending. Kasi sabi ko, grabe, it took 10 years para matapos lahat ng films. Nagsimula yung mga bata, 10 years old, natapos 20 plus. Now, daming pwede nangyari. In fact, by the third movie, namatay po si Dumbledore. Kaya pinalitan yung artista. By the fifth movie, yung tatlong bata ayaw na. Kasi hindi man lang nila naramdaman maging bata. Agad-agad everywhere they go, may paparazzi, ang daming fans, hindi nila ma-enjoy ang buhay. But, nagpagal sila, nagpatuloy. Why? They started to realize that what they were doing is bigger than themselves. Now, ito towards the end, pinag-usapan nila what the Harry Potter franchise meant for them. Pakinggan nyo, no? Kasi marami sa kanila ngayon patay na. Wala na si Alan Rickman, wala na si Maggie Smith, wala na si Robbie Coltrane. Now, in particular, listen to what Robbie Coltrane said because it was so beautiful. Si Robbie Coltrane was the one who played Hagrid sa movies. And watch as they reflect on what this movie or what these movies meant to them. Can you please have this last video before we pray? You know, the whole thing, sabi nila, it was hard, it was difficult, but it was worth it. Ganda nung sinabi ni Robbie Coltrane. The beautiful thing about that whole series, everything they just did, was that, sabi niya, my children's generation will show it to their children. Maybe in 50 years, they will watch Harry Potter. Sabi niya, I will no longer be here sadly, but Hagrid will. Yes. Sabi ko, grabe no? Totoo yun. Last year, Robbie Coltrane passed away. The actor of Hagrid has gone home to his maker. But Hagrid is still with us. The story of faithfulness to Harry from the life of Hagrid is still with us. Sabi ko, it was so difficult for them to make, but it meant so much to so many people. In the end, isn't that something that we all desire? Yung gagawin natin, yung kaya natin gawin, matatapos eh. Mamamatay rin tayo. Taga natin sa bato, mamamatay tayo. Wala pa namang hindi namamatay. Pero ang tanong, yung mga pinaghirapan natin, binuo, tinanim, at ginawa, aabot ba sa mga anak natin at sa mga anak na mga anak natin? That's what a legacy is. Because something is good, something is beautiful, and something is true. Our children and our children's children need to hear it and need to listen to it and need to see it. In our own call, maybe God is placing a seed of legacy in our own hearts. We're part of a church that is attempting to do great things for God because we serve a great God. The question is, are we a part of that legacy? Tayo po lahat ay tumayo sa ating pagtapos. Panginoon, aming Ama, nagpapasalamat po kami sa inyo sa araw na ito. Salamat po, Panginoon, sa iyong katapatan, sa mga nakalipas na taon, sa lakas na ibinigay po ninyo sa unang henerasyon na siyang nagpatuloy ng gawain na to. Kaya ngayon po kami ay nakakapagtipon-tipon sa silid na ito dahil sa katapatan po ninyo sa buhay nila. Salamat po, Panginoon, sa ugat na binigay po ninyo sa amin bilang isang iglesia. Tulungan nyo lang po kami, Panginoon, na sa aming paglakbay kasama po ninyo patungo sa kinabukasan. Tulungan nyo lang po kami na maalala at ipasabuhay ang mga magagandang bagay na ginawa at binigay po ninyo sa unang henerasyon. Tulungan nyo po kami, Panginoon, O Lord God, na sa aming pagsunod sa inyo, maalala po namin kung ba't kami nagsimula at ba't namin ginagawa yung mga bagay na ito. Dahil, Panginoon, kayo po nakakilala ng bawat isa, kayo po nakakaalam kung saan na po kami sa kwento ng buhay namin. At kayo rin po ang siyang mag-aalaga ng binhi ng pananampalataya na itinanim po ninyo sa amin, sa aming iglesia. Nawa ho, Panginoon, pagdating ng aming panahon para tumayo at harapin ang hamon ng buhay, ipaalala nyo lang po sa amin na kaya namin harapin ang kahit ano. For your yoke is easy and your burden is light. Kaya namin basta't kasama ka. At tulungan nyo rin po kami maalala, Panginoon, na lahat ng aming ginagawa ay dahil sa pagmamahal. Dahil, Panginoon, binigay rin nyo ang inyong bugtong na anak sa amin dahil sa pagmamahal ninyo sa amin. Kaya paliyabin nyo lang po ang puso ng bawat isa para sa inyong gawain, para sa mga bagay ng inyong kaharian. At tulungan nyo lang po kami na sa aming paglakbay, maitaguyod po namin ang gawain na binigay po ninyo sa amin. Salamat po. Sa aming paghiwa-hiwalay, samahan nyo lang po ang bawat isa. Balutin nyo lang po kami na yung grasya at pagsinta. Sa aming pagbalik sa pang-araw-araw na buhay, gamitin nyo lang po ang aming lakas, ang aming talento at aming galing para sa inyo. At sa aming pagbigay ng mga ikapo at handog ng pag-ibig, nagpapasalamat po kami sa pagkakataon na sumuporta sa inyong gawain. At gusto lamang po namin ibalik lahat ng papurit pagsamba sa inyo dahil kayo karapat dapat ng bawat isa. Sa iyong matamis sa pangalan kami nananalangin, isang Diyos magpakailanman. Amen at Amen. God bless po sa bawat isa.